Welcome to this new series. I'm hoping to complete reflections on all 49 portions of the Torah. That's the first 5 books of the Bible, as they're divided in the synagogue. And we'll upload them on the very day when they are being read in the synagogue. That should be every Saturday for the next year. Now today they begin the yearly cycle. And today's portion is Bereshit, which covers from Genesis chapter 1 through to Genesis chapter 6, verse 8. Now imagine I go to a music concert. Everybody takes their seats. The conductor arrives and taps the podium with his baton, and a hush comes across the entire auditorium. The orchestra plays the first bars of the concerto, and I get up out of my seat and I call for a halt. The music stops. I ask aloud, "I can't understand music. Can somebody please explain it to me?" And the conductor looks at me and says, "We play the music, you enjoy it." Now that's a little bit like reading the Bible. The first bars ring out. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But wait, somebody might say, can we have an explanation of the existence of God? No, there is no explanation. If God had written an explanation, I'm sure he could have done, then nobody could have understood it. We wouldn't know even what way to hold the book, let alone understand it. And so God just begins playing the music, and we find ourselves strangely drawn to it and tapping our foot spiritually, maybe. The words and the images, the characters and the incidents speak to the heart. And God is actually honoring us in this way. Because you see, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God, and would demand that explanation. But they wouldn't understand anyway. And God does not take us for fools. He presupposes that we believe in his existence. That's the first point. There's a second point. God's sublime language elevates those who hear it. There's education, yes, but preceding education, there's elevation. The majesty of the words and the stories radiate a glory upon the reader that is maintained throughout. The third point, as it elevates our hearts and minds, then we become open to learning. You see, the Bible never bullies, it inspires. We occasionally had teachers that bullied us and were impatient, and the result was we closed off to learning. Other teachers were kinder, and some even inspired us, and we learned much more readily. Now, there are the 3 positive points, but there are also 3 warnings. Serious warnings, because you see, God has enemies, and that one in particular is named Satan. Satan's burning passion is to prevent mankind from finding God. He despises the beings that are made in his image, and spoiling the image is the only thing possible for Satan to vent his hatred of God, as well as to ensure as many as possible follow him to hell. Now here are the 3 serious warnings. 1, Satan has his own methods of ruining the human race. You see, we are in the last days and his activities are increasing. Haven't we all noticed it? You see, he knows his time is running out. There is desperation in the air, and Satan is still very dangerous. The second warning is, we don't see Satan, but we do see his agents in this world, such as the globalists and those governments and scientists, educators and bankers that are serving him. Now, not all of them are bad, but the bad ones get the funding from the billionaire globalists. Oh, and we mustn't forget the media. The third warning is, since an atmosphere of respect and dignity opens us to learning as God does in the Bible, The opposite is also true. Satan's agents in our education system has spoiled an entire generation of children through the lies of Darwinism, humanism, relativism, and the revision of history, and so many other vile things. The world of Orwell's 1984 is here and now. The ugliness of vulgar modern art. Vulgar art, modern dystopian literature, brutal modern architecture, and the constant fears of global catastrophe and unending pandemics. It's all a discordant racket to try to drown out the divine symphony. Those are the three serious warnings. The very tone of this book opens us to a world of wonders that elevate our hearts and minds because God loves us. In fact, he loves us so much that this word became flesh, Jesus Christ. He is the central theme of the entire book. He's the hope of Israel, and he's a light to the Gentiles. Now I'll conclude with reading the opening verses of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And I'd like to read it to you in the Hebrew, the original Hebrew. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, v'haaretz hayta tohu v'vohu, v'choshech al pnei tehom, v'ruach Elohim merachefet al pnei hamayim. V'yomer Elohim yehi or, v'yahi or. V'yar Elohim et haor kitov. V'yavdel Elohim ben haor uven hachoshech. V'yikra Elohim leor yom. V'lachoshech kara laila. V'yahi erev, v'yahi voker. Yom echad. Thanks for listening. And I hope you'll join us next Saturday for the second portion, Noach.